Hello and welcome. If you ever caught yourself trapped in a loop of overthinking, indecisiveness in making any decisions, or in a loop of procrastination, I want you to know that you're not alone. I'm Faria Barlas, chartered psychologist and business growth and success coach. And today I want us to dive into the truth about overthinking and what it is and how you can actually step away from it. So you might find yourself being stuck in going back and forth, trying to rewrite an email before sending it off. And even when you do, you still feel a bit uncertain. Or you might be one of those people that actually have conversations, in your head over and over before you actually go and have a conversation, let's say with your boss or with your partner or even with your friend. This is kind of you being stuck in a place of overthinking constantly. Or you might start thinking about, okay, if I make this decision, this is how the decision or, everything can go wrong. Or thinking about all the risks that are associated with every action you want to take. Even if it's like a simple action of, okay, I'm going to wake up this morning and I'm going to go and work out and then do my work. I know for a fact that some people will go back and forth about, okay, should I do my workout first, or should I go do the work first, or should I have my cup of coffee first? Even with things that seem to not be that important, people might find themselves, not being able to make a decision. And that is due to overthinking. Overthinking can be very frustrating, of course, but it's not just frustrating. It's also exhausting. Because if you think about it, you're constantly in a place of doubting yourself and you keep going back and forth. So even though you're not really taking actions and you're not really actually doing anything, but the amount of energy and headspace that you're giving to this self-doubt and decision making and going back and forth, it can be very exhausting. So firstly, I want you to know that overthinking is not really your fault. And it's not something that, has anything to do with your lack of motivation or you not being decisive enough. It has everything to do with your brain telling your body that you are not feeling safe and that, your nervous system is not on board with your decision making. So firstly, you need to establish that, because if you're constantly thinking that that being stuck in not being able to make a decision and overthinking is a mindset situation or is a mindset problem, chances are that you're going to look for solutions that are going to be mindset related. And then when you don't get the result that you want or you're not able to move, then you become even more frustrated, or you might even become self-critical and criticize yourself to say, oh, well, of course, I've tried and I'm doing all this mindset work and everything, and yet I'm still not able to move away from this hell that I'm in, from this overthinking place. And this can be very discouraging. All the while you should be thinking about this process not just being a mindset process. So overthinking is actually rooted in your nervous system, and it's basically your brain trying to protect you by preparing you for all these kind of different outcomes, right? Even if these outcomes are never ever going to happen or they're never going to come true, this is your brain's way of trying to give you different scenarios, right? So you're thinking that by imagining different scenarios, you're actually going to prepare yourself for different outcomes, and then you're not going to be in shock. Or it's not going to affect you or impact you as much. I want to tell you something. If something negative or bad or painful or scary is going to happen to you, you are going to feel that pain, regardless of how you think you have prepared yourself for it. So that's important to know, because most of the time you get stuck in overthinking because you believe that if you imagine and visualize all different kinds of scenarios and outcomes, then if something doesn't go according to what you want, it's not going to hurt you as much. It's not true. It will hurt just as much. So that knowledge, the understanding that, overthinking is not actually going to protect you, is not going to hurt any less if you have thought about not getting that job, right? So if you're preparing yourself for this job interview, or you're preparing to launch a business, or, whatever it may be. If you get stuck in the overthinking process and imagine, okay, well, what if nobody actually wants to buy from me, for example? Or what if I won't get that, I'll go to the job interview and I really mess it up, or I'm not speaking, or they're not kind of wanting to take me on board. So you're visualizing and imagining all these scenarios, and the hope is that these scenarios will protect you and help you feel less disappointed when you don't actually get the result you want. But the reality is they won't. It does not work that way. So what you do need to know is that there is a link between overthinking, fear, and your nervous system. So overthinking is you staying in your head because you're scared. That's what it means, right? And because you don't want to connect to the feelings of being scared, which is fear, and the feelings and emotions live in your body. They don't live in your head. And it's actually a lot harder, believe it or not, to stay in your overthinking than actually staying with your emotion and feeling the fear or whatever it is that you're experiencing, or self-doubt. Because undoubtedly, these are painful emotions. And there must have been some time in the past, maybe when you were small, or maybe you didn't have the tools or the experiences to know how to deal with your emotions, that you experienced a big emotion, either it was fear or anger or sadness. And what you did was that you stayed in your head and you disconnected from your body. You started thinking, you started storytelling, you started kind of going off, as children do, they like to make up stories and stay in their head. And that worked for you at that time, right? So you would have been small, and staying in your head and overthinking helped you, because it helped you not be so sad, or it helped you not be scared. And you have decided there unconsciously, of course, that this is how you can protect yourself. So even though now years have passed and you as an adult, you are a lot more capable of dealing with difficult emotions, but your body has not registered that yet. So you still think that, the best way that you can protect yourself is by staying in your head and not really tapping into your body. So now that you understand where this overthinking might have come from, then, maybe you can check in with yourself. Maybe you can come back to your defense mechanisms. Understand that actually overthinking is not really helping you, is not keeping you safe. It did one time, but it's not working for you anymore. In fact, it's working against you, because in many occasions now, overthinking can have it's not just frustrating or even exhausting. It can have real consequences, right? So let's say if you have this sort of big dream of launching a business of your own, right? And you know that you've been passionate about it, you've got what it takes, and you really want to do it. Overthinking will keep you stuck. Overthinking, because you can think about 1 million different things that could go wrong, and that you will stay with each one of these thoughts trying to come up with a solution to a non-existent problem, because none of this has happened yet. Or overthinking may lead to missed opportunities at work. So if you're supposed to be speaking up in a meeting, you have an idea that's a really great idea, and you have gone through it in your head, but when it actually comes to it, you kind of go, okay, no, maybe I need to research it more, or maybe I need to think about it more. There goes your opportunity. So it actually has real consequences. One of the other ways that overthinking can impact you in a negative way is that it really impacts your sense of confidence or your sense of self. Because if you're constantly questioning yourself, it means that you're not really trusting your own self to make a decision. And because now you're overthinking, then you're not actually going to make a decision, which then results in you missing, an opportunity, for example, which then confirms again that, oh, okay, you're not to be trusted, because look, there goes your opportunity and you were not able to take the right actions. So it's a constant cycle. It's a dysfunctional cycle. But one of the most important, for me, one of the most important impacts of overthinking is that it keeps you away from your intuition. And our intuition is, that's the place where our creativity comes from, right? Anything we want to create, anything we want to sort of create for our life, but also for our work and business, or even our relationship. It's linked to our intuition. Now, if overthinking and all the noise in your head is kind of keeping you occupied, it moves you away from your intuition. It moves you away from your inner knowing. And I think for me, as a psychologist, that's the biggest price that you can pay for overthinking. So I want you to think of overthinking in this way, that it's not actually a flaw. It's not something that, is wrong with you. It's simply a survival strategy. It's a mechanism to keep you and your body safe. So if you're understanding that, then you can start taking steps towards regulating your nervous system, towards creating safety, so that you can actually move away from all this self-doubt and taking kind of small aligned actions. One thing that's important that will actually help you a great deal is knowing that you can actually take practical steps. It's not just about a mindset that you need to correct. You can actually take steps. You can take a moment, before making a big decision, or before making any decision for that matter. Because if you're overthinking about every decision, chances are that your body will get into that dysregulation a lot during the day. So, before, writing that email, before speaking up or whatever, just taking a few moments, checking in with your body, actually allowing your body to register that you are safe, that you're not in that place that you were, I don't know, when you were small and something bad happened, or when you didn't have the tools or strategies to protect yourself. Now you need to let your body know that you're not in any danger, and maybe asking yourself, maybe having a dialogue with yourself as to what it is you're afraid of. Is it the judgment, of others? Is it actually a fear of failure, or are you worried about actually succeeding? And what would that bring in your life and in your relationships? So there are lots of different things that you can do to move away from overthinking. I just want you to know that it's not something that you have to live with forever, or it's not something that you can get rid of by improving your mindset or working harder, or making sure that things are perfect, or you're doing lots and lots of research. It's exhausting. There is an easier way. You can actually regulate your nervous system and understand the patterns that are not working anymore for you, but these are survival strategies or survival patterns. And also there is something else around overthinking, and that has to do with your the pattern of your family or your surrounding. There is a lot to be said about intergenerational trauma and how our parents, or our grandparents, or how they have dealt with stressful or difficult situations, and what we observed growing up about, okay, this is the right way to deal with, for example, getting something done. And there is a lot to be said about overthinking and perfectionism, because they go hand in hand, right? Because you're overthinking in order to make sure you create an outcome that's perfect. That's another way of you actually not getting anything done. That's just another way for you not getting the result that you want. So you need to become mindful of perfectionism as well, and understanding that taking imperfect small steps are a lot more productive and helpful to you and your self-confidence than staying stuck and overthinking and thinking about all the situations and everything that can potentially go wrong. So the way to break free from perfectionism, to break from fear of success, fear of failure, self-doubt even, is to understand the connection between mind and body, and to understand that the emotional safety is critical. Nervous system regulation is critical in creating that safety, so you are able to move away from overthinking, move away from staying in your head constantly, and taking small steps and aligned actions. If what we talked about today resonates, feel free to check out the description box where I left the link to my free resources. I have got some amazing resources that you can help yourself to. and it will help you move away from functional freeze. And it's a worksheet and an audio. You can download it straight away and start taking steps towards stepping out of overthinking and stepping into taking aligned actions and the kind of a life that you truly desire and you want for yourself.